it was always, you meet with a dietitian, they tell you what to do, you never do it.
Yeah.
Because it's for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So you have an AI doing a lot of the work.
You're saying 3 months, but I'm saying like even over the next decade,
Yeah.
how comfortable people get with interacting with AI will also change a lot.
Oh, it's almost cult-like how much they try to use it.
Am I talking to a human? Am I talking to a computer? Like, what is it, right?
Or if they're going to try to create them to replace you.
You know, there's a ton of, bad actors out there that will easily use a lot of the functionality that exists today to do scams.
The way to make people accountable is to make them get a dopamine hit, apparently.
The hot events that are...
Yeah. We hit 10 million views this month. Last
Sick.
30 days.
Congrats.
It was the first time we hit 10 million in a month, so...
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But it's like
cool.
It's just consistency though, eh? Like you're just posting a lot.
I nitpick every single word. Like there'll be a post and like it'll be written one way. I'll just turn it upside down.
Sure.
Like it's that you gotta really like. Here's something I was recently talking about is like, so I was editing clips for this podcast with the first guest John, and I sent him the clips, and he's like, yeah, the clips, they're well edited and they look great. The graphics, the subtitles, the lighting, they all look great, but they never let me finish a thought. It cuts off like mid-sentence. And I was like, yeah, well, this is the thing. Like we don't get 10 million views by like doing what we want. Like you're at the whim of the algorithm.
Well,
like
at the same time,
algorithm is in charge. Like
Yeah.
People don't break the algorithm, or like they don't create the algorithm. Like the algorithm is created like by chance. Like it creates you. So if you want to do really well on a platform, you have to kind of just follow suit.
I need a hook, right? So like, let's say he doesn't finish his thought, then people are like, oh, maybe I should watch the whole thing.
Exactly.
And hear his thought, right?
Yeah. So I got a bunch of like 15-second ones where you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I probably want to hear the rest of that, right? So it's like try to pull people in. For this podcast, like personally, I'm not too interested in the podcast blowing up. Sure. At all. I really want, so for our newest company, Image, which is the Innovate Media Group, like we're really doing this as a marketing tool.
So it's IMG.
Nice. Image, So we're doing it as a marketing tool to just get clips to put on LinkedIn.
Sure.
Because while we're really great at marketing for other people, I've never been good at marketing for myself, obviously.
Always the case, hey?
So it's interesting because like there's Jordan Peterson, obviously, right? So he's a tough one to bring up nowadays. People get mad, but I'll bring him up fast. He talks about in his first book that blew up, 12 Rules of Life or whatever. He talks about how like you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you a prescription and it tells you to go do your blood work, which I have right now sitting on my desk for like 3 weeks. I haven't done it, and you never do it for yourself. But if you go to the vet, and the vet gives you something for your dog, you're like religiously doing it. Like it's like you do it at 8 p.m. You're sitting there at 7:55 just waiting, like looking at your watch, looking at the dog, looking at your watch, looking at your dog. And so it's easier to take care of other people, especially who rely on you. It's probably something about gratification and less of pride. So
yeah, I also think like humans as a whole, they feel better when they're giving.
Yeah.
Not when they're taking. I mean, there's some exceptions, of course. But I feel that, it's to your example. Makes perfect sense. Mentally. So
I don't do marketing for myself. So I'm hoping this podcast is a good way to get some marketing for myself. Like we're so busy right now, it doesn't even matter. But who knows what's in store down the road?
Yeah. I mean, having the demand is good.
Yeah.
But like you don't want to also take too much on, and then you're dying from indigestion.
Exactly.
Not starvation, right?
Yeah.
So we're the same way. It's like we always did everything so gradually.
Yeah.
But like, when it rains, it pours sometimes.
So when you started out with like Nutra meals, I was living at your house.
Yes.
I was renting a room from you, but a little bit into it. But it was a university project?
Yeah. So we incorporated like 2017.
Yeah.
Like during our second last year of university. Didn't really do anything. But then, compliance aside, we started cooking meals out of Grace's parents' kitchen because we wanted the meals for ourselves.
Yeah.
But then everyone else wanted the meals as well, and it kind of just like snowballed from there. And that's when we made the e-commerce store, and then that's when we were living together. And
I ate some meals from the fridge. You were like, eat some of these. I was like, really? You're like, yeah.
Go for it. Test it out. Like these are 7 days old. We're testing the expiry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then kind of just expanded from there. And then compared to where we are today versus those 6 years ago is a big difference.
Yeah, 6 years. Is that how long about?
Yeah, so like technically it's been incorporated for about 8.
8 years,
But then we've been really operating for 6, and I've been doing it full time for 5, but then my last 2 years have been on the Nourish side, the digital health platform, rather than the food side. So Grace still runs all the food operations, whereas I'm more on like the project management and sales of the commercialization for Nourished.
That's interesting. So I thought that you were doing it a little longer, because I started Innovate Media basically about 6 years ago.
Yeah, no.
So right when I moved out, basically, is when I started Innovate Media. Then
yeah, like I didn't leave my full-time job until I kicked you out.
I'm kidding.
You want to go there?
No. Okay, so
you edit that out.
Yeah. So no, okay, that's cool. So yeah, we started about the same time. Yeah, and
you were walking your little nephew, and you still give me a hard time. Hey.
Yeah, are you still down in that area? Yeah. Oh, cool. That's wicked.
For
I'm
now.
looking at places down in that area right now. Yeah, because my brother lives like a few blocks from you. So yeah, we got a nephew coming
Keep the
around there.
Geskes together.
So, yeah, now I have a kid coming too. So
what?
Yeah.
Congrats. Is this the first time you're announcing this?
Yeah. The whole world knows now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I mean, congrats. Amazing. Dude, that's huge.
Yeah. So no, I'm living downtown right now. I'm living in a condo, and that's tough. So I'm looking to get out of there and kind of, I don't want to live in a condo when I have a kid. I walk outside, the quality of downtown right now is really down. I walk outside the other day, I saw 3 people putting needles in their toes. So, but what were we talking about? We were talking about the starting of it, right? So you were still an analyst at another business when you were starting NutriMeals when I moved in with you, and then I kind of saw you were like, man, I think I'm gonna quit my job soon, and you did it. You pulled the trigger. Like, what was that like?
At the worst timing.
Yeah.
So it was like January 2020, and then COVID happened March 2020. It's like, well, I probably could have, hung on a little bit longer, work from home, but in the end, it is what it is. Like, it kind of worked out in the long run.
Yeah.
But so 5 years now, full time. And that's just been like a journey and a half, just navigating what it looks like. Because when you take the plunge, like, you don't even know what to expect.
Yeah.
And, like,
100%.
You're fighting for your life, basically, right?
Yeah.
As you know, like, as any startup. But in the end, things work out, and you have to be agile. And that's what we did. Is like when I quit my job, it's because we launched those vending machines.
Yeah.
And like,
I
we
remember
developed
that.
a whole app about being contactless vending before COVID was a thing, and like you could reserve the meal, blah blah blah. Right now, we don't use those at all. Yeah. Right. So that's kind of a blessing in disguise.
Are they still around?
No.
Like,
we have them in our warehouse. Like,
nice.
they're around as a
just
reminder
like where
to not
the staff
do that.
get their meals.
No, not even that.
Damn.
No, that's like, they're just big, heavy paperweights. So we'll see what happens with those. The company who we bought them from may want to purchase them back for another company. So perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Not my main priority.
Yeah, and people don't see all that when they see like a business owner. They don't see like all the like, for lack of a better word, like failures or trials and tribulations, right? Like they don't know you have these expensive vending machines. You want to explain what these vending machines did? They were like contactless delivery. So instead of getting the food delivered to your house, if you work downtown, you could select one of these vending machines and then pick up your food from there. Is that what?
Basically. So like, the vending machine wasn't like proprietary to us, but the technology was. So what we did is that we had an app where you could browse the inventory of the vending machine. And then once you know what you wanted, you could reserve up to 3 things at once, because we could do multi-vend.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the cool bit behind it. But of course, when we deployed the vending machines, they were in downtown office buildings. And as soon as COVID happened, everyone was working from home. And so like, it'd be great if they could be moved into somewhere else. But like, as you know, in the leasing space, like, it's not easy to lease 10 or like 100 square feet.
Yeah.
Like 10 by 10, like not even, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it was just like, wasn't worth it. And like, when you have like a vending machine company, usually you have an operator who puts the products into it, and they manage only the operation of the vending. Yeah. We were making the healthy meals in our commercial kitchen. We were also managing the vending. Them there. And at the same time, it was just too much.
Yeah, a lot of logistics.
But also like with a fresh prepared product, just a lot of spoilage, Yeah. Especially when there's no one down there.
Yeah, you were donating them, right?
Yeah, we were donating. We still do donate some kind of leftovers, because like, we're really precise on how much we produce, but we have a partnership with the Leftovers Foundation, and they take, the product from us that we end up freezing after our production days. Then it gets redistributed to like community fridges and kitchens around town. So we did do that. But I mean, at the same time, like, from a bottom line perspective of your business, you don't want to be giving away all your product.
No, yeah.
That's right. So from a unit economic standpoint, it didn't really make sense. We learned that like relatively fast. So we fail quickly and move on to the next thing.
And that's what we always say. Fail quick.
100%.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah, those are a thing of the past. They're going to be staying there.
Yeah.
Only new things moving forward.
Yeah, that's crazy. So NutriMeals is like, so are you pretty like spread out for your client base now, or is it mainly Alberta, or?
We're spread out. So like for Nutrimills, we've kind of split our business into two separate sections. Like Nutrimills Inc. is the parent company.
Yeah.
But we have like our food operations and we have our like digital health platform. And now that's mostly in the US. And then the food is still in Alberta. Like we're not a federally inspected facility. That's so much infrastructure and actually expansion to actually be approved to send cooked like protein products across borders. This wasn't, in my opinion, worth it for our size of business. Like Calgary and even Alberta is a very, very small market. So that's why we wanted to expand south of the border in more of a digital play. Just because then you have, infinitely scalable opportunities where we built a platform that can now be utilized in Canada, the US, Europe, wherever. And then we have a licensing play, right? So that's why it's different. But yeah, Grace actually still manages the food side. She does some co-packing for other brands. We still have the Nutrimills brand that we're working with. Nutrimills is now a vendor on Nurish'd because Nurish'd is a food as medicine platform. So although it is health forward, we still provide the healthy prepared meals that match their meal plans. And so it's, Nourish is really the evolution of Nutrimills, but they still work together. But my time is completely 100% focused on Nourished, and Grace is still working on the operation. She has the hard task of managing most of the people.
I've seen, I don't know if everybody's seen your Instagram, but I've seen videos. You got all your staff in like parkas packing in a giant fridge, like the freshest possible food.
Yeah, like the way we want to make sure that, from a quality assurance perspective is that we cook the food, it cools immediately, and then we actually don't take it out of the fridge until it's delivered to the consumer. So we pack the meals in there as well. So they have to wear their parkas. They have obviously like white lab coats on over top as well, just from like sanitary perspective. But it's a colder environment, but it's nice in the summertime.
It's a big fridge. Hey, how big is that?
It's like 850-ish square feet of cooler room. Okay, so like small apartment size. Like not crazy huge where you're storing like a bunch of stuff like some of the large distributors, but big enough because like we're going through the inventory. We make the food.
We'll put a reel up on the screen as you talk about it.
Go for it.
So that's wicked.
That's where we came from, right? So this is our third production facility. We've been in a couple other ones smaller, and then this is our own.
Yeah, this is one you guys bought out, right?
Well, we're releasing the space, but we did the entire build out.
Yeah, the 10.
So it's like a 5-year plus 5 years, so we can stay there for up to 10, and who knows for beyond that. But we'll see where our US business goes because now Nourish is the platform that can really encompass multiple vendors. And so the nice thing is about having Nutrimills is that we can test everything ahead of time, but
you're your own guinea pig.
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. It's the same with like Image working down with all of its businesses, right? Like it's easy to give a case study. People are like, well, can you show that it works? It's like, you're using our already on with 5 of my businesses.
Exactly. Right? Like you have a podcast studio renting out, but you're proving that, hey, the concept's working because like we're running podcasts in here.
Weekly, like Star Building Materials does their podcast from here, right? Like a Qualico company. We have 4 or 5 different people already doing their podcast. We built it over the last Donovan, we built this over the last 6 months or so, and right? Yeah. And then we were too busy to advertise it at all. We were too busy to start shooting. We were too busy to do any advertisement. That video that you saw that I just posted on LinkedIn recently, that's like an advertisement for the modular space because you can change the logo and everything. Like we shot that probably like 4 or 5 months ago, and like we just didn't get to posting it. Like I actually built the website for it, like from the ground up. I did that because Jess was out at a shoot. She's a photographer, and I was working here late waiting for her to get back, so I just like built the website overnight like 6 months ago, and that's when I was like, we're gonna do this. and then like the website sat there just getting better authority on Google for like 6 months. But it's a great way to create for like busier people, right? Especially if what you're doing is more of a service or consulting, then this is a great way to kind of talk about it. We also have a cool podcast coming out with What's Good Calgary, where it's more of a late night show. I think we're going to call it the Good Night Show. But it's cool. It'll be like 15 minutes of talking, and then like an on the street segment that's pre-recorded by a different host comes back. They like play a game, and then we filmed a few live studio sessions with musicians in here.
Sweet.
Like these microphones are like incredible quality. I'll send you a couple videos. We had Brett Cassidy in here and Tyson Ray Borsboom. We're trying to focus on like bringing in local artists and try to give them some like strength to like get out there. So it's kind of cool. cool. But yeah, so you keep bringing up Nourished. We should probably talk about like what it is. Like kind of, you're like, this is the evolution of NutriMeals. So NutriMeals was a food prep company. Basically, you could order like a week of breakfast, lunch, and dinner on there. It comes to your house every 3 days or so, fresh. And now you have a platform that NutriMeals is part of. You want to kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nourished is, like I mentioned, the evolution of NutriMeals. So with NutriMeals, with the name, like nutrition is a big focus of ours. And to improve the value to our client, we were incorporating the dietitian, right? And so with dietitians, it's nice because you have a healthcare provider that can be reimbursed from your benefits. You can use your health spending account or wellness spending account. And then you get a product that's actually prioritized and personalized to you. And what we quickly realized is that, the dietitian's time is very valuable, and we really only want them to be doing things that they can do. But once we have the dietitian doing a consultation, not only do they have to do all their charting, which is like their medical notes, they also have to do the actual meal planning for the client. And that included like understanding the vendor's menu, the ingredients, the consumer's allergies, et cetera, et cetera. And so what we did is actually, we decided to make Nourished, as it started, an actual AI helper. And so what we did is that we used it manually, like semi-automatically for a while, where we incorporated it into NutriMeals. And this AI model would basically understand the user's like profile. That's both health profiles, so like managing chronic condition, their lifestyle profiles, so like how active they are, and then their actual like physical profile. So like, height, weight, age, activity level, all that personal health information. And what we would do is then link that to our food vendor. So in our case, in our test, it was NutriMeals, and we would have all the compliance, right? So we would know, all the macro and micronutrients of a meal. But then now we would know how much macro and micronutrients an individual needed, and we would click a button and the AI would optimize it for an entire meal plan, like 3-4 meals a day, based on their macro micro recommendation. And then if they had a chronic condition like diabetes, for example, the micronutrients like dietary fibers would be optimized as well. And so then now you have what we call like medically tailored meals, right? Now, like if you look at Nourish as a platform, we still have that AI technology built in, but we also have ways for our clients to actually meet with the dietitian consults on the platform as a telehealth service, and they can order their meals for another vendor. So now we have partners in Texas, for example, where we are partnered with insurance companies. They want their members to be healthier, so they're covering the dietitian consultations, and then they're also covering part of the food costs for the individual as well, right? So this is where it's a huge opportunity for us. So now Nourished itself is started as a technology, but now it's a marketplace for both the food vendor and the dietitian and the consumer. And so we're bringing that all in one platform, whereas before it was always, you meet with a dietitian, they tell you what to do, you never do it.
Yeah.
Because it's for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
To what you
I
were
was
saying earlier, it's for
Yeah.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
But now you have a platform where it's like, okay, the dietitian's telling you to do this. They're going to walk you through the 2-minute steps it does to optimize it. You're going to do the meal plan, and that product's going to be delivered to your door.
Yeah.
And it's covered by
insurance. It's making sure it gets done. It takes away a little bit of the accountability you have to have for yourself to go and do it after you get told it, which is really nice. So it's going to get it through the door.
Yeah. The hardest part for us is that, one, it's the user adoption, but it's also the compliance. So what we have done now is that we have a whole health profile, and the users can actually start following along their metrics, and they see like improvements in like body composition over time, energy levels over time. And we actually use that same data, not only to train the model, but also to report that back to the insurance companies so we can prove an ROI.
So how do you get the biometrics? Sorry,
it's just user reported for now.
Just user reported. Okay, cool. Do you guys, I know, you can get that. Some people with diabetes have like the thing put in their
CGM,
skin.
Like constant glucose monitoring.
Have you guys ever thought about like getting that data to kind of build into there? That's like a next step, kind of, obviously.
Yeah, that's like a nice to have, right? So when we looking as like, as startup as we are, we have like our roadmap where it's like we must have these features, and then we have like the nice to haves. And right now on our roadmap, like CGM and other wearables is like on our nice to have, and so that'll be coming up next, depending on how we prioritize that in our development cycle.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's crazy. And so you have an AI doing a lot of the work. Like what are the touch points? I think a big thing, like we work with a ton of different businesses and we help implement a lot of automation and a lot of AI. And the more that we go, we're seeing more and more AI that needs to be implemented.
Sure.
But some people, they try to implement too much AI. So like the biggest thing that we see, and I see some really smart people who fall to AI as like this, it's almost cult-like how much they try to use it. They try to put it into everything. They try to wrap everything in it, and they think that it can do everything for them, but they don't understand the difference, one, between like functional AI, language models, and like what's coming in the future, right? So usually what we say is like, when a lot of the stuff people ask us to develop, I say, no, just wait 3 months.
Yeah.
Just wait 3 months. There's no reason for you to spend your money on that. There's bigger fish out there.
Yeah.
Right. So like how many touch points do you kind of have in there, and what's like your understanding of what's functional and what do you hope to get?
Yeah, like so for us, the touch point now is very low because we know that the adoption's not quite there, and that people who are approved for this type of, service may not be the type of user that is wanting to be facing AI all the time. So I'll give you an example, right? So if you're looking at like a Medicare or Medicaid program in the US, the audience might be over 65, right?
Yeah.
And they're not the ones that want to be interfacing with an LLM often.
Yeah.
So the way that we use AI is like very strategic, because as a digital health platform, our AI cannot diagnose, it cannot make any suggestions that a dietitian hasn't approved, right?
Yeah.
So if we want to bill back to an insurance company, we have to ensure that during a consultation, which is what we can bill for, the dietitian approves the recommendation from the AI. So it's kind of built into the process.
Yeah.
However, when we look at like the meal plan module, when we gather the information from the individual, it's very like structured. And so it feels like you're using a website, and of course there's some additional computing time that we need, but it's not like you're talking to a computer. Like right now we are developing our agent to be a dietitian helper, where we can actually make the consultations a bit more optimized and more focused on the consumer instead of like the dietitian charting on the back end. And so there's a lot of information that we can gather and implement there, but we're not quite there yet. And I think that what we'll see, like you're saying 3 months, but I'm saying like even over the next decade, how comfortable people get with interacting with AI will also change a lot. And that's what we're kind of looking at. Like, yes, we have AI built in now. It's very structured. It doesn't feel like AI. It's just like an optimization strategy. However, we've built this model in-house and it is AI. But then we're looking at slowly implementing things so people don't get, creeped out about, am I talking to a human? Am I talking to a computer? Like, what is it, right?
Yeah. I think, so it'll be more of like a generational switch that's going to happen. And it's really interesting looking at all the different places that AI is growing to try to even pretend to understand where it could go, right? Like generationally, right now, you have in the States, I think like most males aren't even like having intercourse till they're like 26. So it's nuts, and we'll have to fact check that. But there's very little human connection going on with like adolescents and young adults nowadays, and like they're glued to their phones. There's an easy way out of everything. You're feeling down, just post a photo, you get some dopamine, right? And it's interesting to see how the AI is going to kind of entwine into that, and if it's going to use for good, like pushing you, coaching you on being more social, or if they're going to try to create them to replace you, right? To replace the social aspect.
I think you're seeing both already.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like for the way we use it, like we use it as a tool to like optimize the personal interaction. But like there's a lot of things that I'm seeing online where it's like, no, it is replacing. Yeah. And at that point, and in some scenarios, like, do you know whether or not you're talking to a human or not, right?
Yeah.
And that's where it gets tricky, especially on the generational side of things. And like when you're saying it can be used for, good and bad, there's a ton of, bad actors out there that will easily use a lot of the functionality that exists today to do scams.
Well, yeah, I got
whatever.
I got two for you there on that. So the first one, talking about the scams, my business partner and me, we're sitting at work, and he got he checked in with his wife, and he was just like, hey, what should I bring home for dinner? And she phoned him freaking out saying, that's all you have to say for yourself. And I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but he was like, what are you talking about? And she's freaking out. She hangs up the phone. And then his dad calls her, and he's like, are you okay? Like, are you good? And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, we heard what happened. Like you hit a pedestrian and you were in jail, and we paid the bond. Oh shit. And he's like, what do you mean we paid the bond? And he's like, I went and I dropped the money off. I put it in the person's account. They told me to. And so it turns out that this AI with his voice phoned his wife or I think it was his mom first, but either way, phoned one of the three that ended up all meeting up, and not one of them tried to call me, who sits beside him all day, and ask me for the money or just if it's real. But at the end of the day, this tricked his family, and it was like a real bond price. It was like $5,000, you know, like to
Is bond the same as bail?
yeah, basically, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So basically, yeah, I think bond's American for bail,
okay.
basically, yeah. So but yeah, so basically they thought he was like out on bail, and he was like, I've just been at work all day. And so that's insane. So that's big. And then, yeah, exactly. The bad actors thing, like to take that second part, the part you were talking about first, and how we're already seeing it. Like, let's think about what we originally started with. What we were talking about is the algorithm, and how there's you're at the whim of the algorithm. ChatGPT isn't human, but it's viral. And it knows how to make things viral. And right now, as it keeps going, like we're only going to be at the whim of it. Like, so I have over 100 businesses that I rank on the top of Google, right? In Calgary alone, right? Over 30 so industries, right? I get 10 million views a month on social media, on Instagram, and probably 3 or 4 on Facebook, right? And we grew to almost 100,000 users in just a year and a half. Like, we understand algorithms, and we know you cannot control them, right? So it's like, as these AIs evolve, they are algorithms. That's all that they are, right? To our understanding right now, right? So it depends on the direction it goes. But yeah, when you look at what are they going to be used for, it's like, well, how are they developed, and what's put in as a precaution to stop them from being used certain ways, right? They like, at what point should we take social media and say, okay, like, let's change the algorithm to not focus on you 4 seconds, right? Because right now the algorithm's 4 seconds. That's all that matters, is your first 4 seconds, right? Like, what about educating, and what about like stopping sharing controversial things, right? So yeah, heavy.
It is. It's a big topic. I mean, like,
yeah,
from like a regulatory standpoint, I don't think, out of like the few people who know, like, there's not a lot of the people in policy, you know, truly know the extent of, you know, how it can be utilized. But, you know, this is just the beginning. Like, if you look at just, you know, call it a year ago, I think maybe even less, like the images that were being generated versus what's generated now. Oh yeah, like, it's huge. Unreal. Like, it's like almost hard to distinguish between you know, what's real and what's not. And I think what's getting really, really tricky is that now you have, going back to social media, all these people posting real images, AI images, and people can't tell the difference. Yeah. And so there's like real events that are happening, and people will be like, oh, that's AI. That's almost worse than people saying, you know, posting AI images and people like saying that's real. Because now you could have something that's going on in the world and people just won't believe it's even happening.
What's even scarier is, like, so I used Midjourney, for instance, right when it came out, same as you. You were using it for nature
we still
meals.
use it.
Yeah, and we still use it a lot. But over the course of like 2.5 years, it got really good. Think about video.
Oh, yeah.
And how fast this is happening, right? So I've already seen a few different rug pull ads on YouTube, and they're not catching these things. I saw Mark Carney saying, oh, click this button and put in your social insurance number, and we're going to send you X amount of money. And that's just on YouTube. It's Mark Carney. It looks real. It doesn't sound real. Right. The voice was bad. It sounded robotic. You got to look out for this thing, people. But we also... we had one, Elon Musk, that we saw 2 days ago, saying that he's sending everybody who owns a Tesla X amount of money, just put your information in here. Like, these rug pulls are happening fast. And generationally, that'll be really tough for like the top 30 years right now, right? The oldest 30 compared to the youngest. Like, it's going to be evolving quickly. And those 30 years, like, the guy who's 50 right now who doesn't have a good grasp of it, when he's 80, it's going to be so far above his head.
Well, like, it's hard to even fathom, like, you know, a 50-year-old when he's 80, that's still 30 years of development.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, it's compounding like yearly. So
it's compounding monthly. Sure. It's insane. Yeah. So like Google VO, we're doing a commercial in Google VO right now, the new Google video one. So it's like, seeing the difference between that and ChatGPT Sora right now is like huge, right? For instance, and it's just one after another. Every month somebody has something new, and I think that's not going to stop.
I'm also wondering too, like, right now it's kind of accessible to everyone as like user adoption tactic, but like I know how expensive it is. Like, you know, all these companies are running on a huge net operating loss for, you know, computing power, physical utilities, you know, a ton of that stuff. So I'm curious to see like who will get access in the future. Like maybe it'll be more people, maybe it'll be, you know, a select group of people. But
well, what did
interesting.
Sam Altman call it? General intelligence. Like basically everybody should have a pair of these glasses.
Sure.
Everyone should have a pair of these glasses with access to like at least a language model that can hook up to the internet. Because if everyone doesn't have that, then you have elites. Right. So that's something that you have to watch out for. Right. You can't bar people from having the bare minimum. But like, for instance, Microsoft right now, what are they building 5 different power plants just for their AI?
It's crazy.
So like that's like, how many power plants are there in, I don't know. Donovan, could you tell us how many power plants are in the States? Nuclear power plants. So yeah, because like I have no idea if that's a lot of power plants, but it seems like a lot of nuclear power plants, right? It took one to melt Japan.
I mean, well, considering, let's say you go from however many Donovan tells us.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm curious.
54 nuclear power plants.
Okay. So 10%.
Nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a nuclear, you know, physicist or like, expert, but I mean, it sounds to me that, you know, increasing production by 10% is generally a big deal. So.
Yeah. That's a lot of output. Yeah. So, and who knows? Like lots of repercussions in a lot of different places. Maybe we talk more about fitness.
Fitness, I don't know.
Well, nutrition. You're fit.
Once was.
Yeah,
not so much anymore. But
I'm getting back into it right now. I bought an Apple Watch 2 days ago.
Doing it for the kid, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I need a way to escape, I think so.
That's not what I meant, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm getting back into it. I used to do boxing, right? And my workout yesterday would have been like a warm up for before my boxing. So it's like,
it's funny you mentioned
rough.
that.
It was rough. It's kicked my ass.
So I used to do gymnastics for fun. I started doing it again.
Nice.
Like every other Thursday because my knees need 2 weeks to recover.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And so I went to like a workout class with Grace yesterday. It's called like Core and Tone. And it was like core, I don't know, for the first half an hour.
See, you're still fit.
And then,
I'm not fit. I do gymnastics and I go to Core and Tone. I eat really healthy. Yeah, you're fit.
Yeah, but like on Thursday, I did gymnastics.
Yeah.
I went to a class on Tuesday and I was still sore from Thursday. Like that's what it's,
yeah.
You know, I'm never going to blame age. Like I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But like, it's definitely not getting any easier. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm just running. I'm doing core. I'm just trying to like get back in shape.
Yeah. I'm trying. So to be an advocate of Nourish, cause like we started in like the health and wellness space.
So can I use Nourish as a normal human?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So like we don't cut it off only for medically tailored stuff. We also have it for general consumer. And so that's where we started, right? Like we always had these, you know, in NutriMeals, these fitness competitors, you know, that were preparing for shows, you know, the overall wellness, wanted to eat healthier, more mindful and things like that. But now Nourished, we actually have, you know, 4 types of goals. We have 3 which are lifestyle. So you can do like weight loss, weight gain, or maintain. And then we actually have a whole separate bucket for managed condition. And you can only access that bucket if you're working with a registered practitioner.
Do you have to get like a slip from your doctor, or
in some states you do, but where we're rolling out first, you don't. But like just to be an advocate of the platform, I like literally made a public LinkedIn post, which I'd never really do. And I did a backflip at gymnastics. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be an advocate. I'm going to use Nourished myself to lose 20 pounds over the next 16 weeks.
Oh, when did you do that?
Last week. So
cool.
Now I'm doing a Nourished plan where I put, you know, all my information in. I have a weight loss goal. And I'm just increasing the proteins just a little bit.
I'm going to do it too.
Do it.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to lose 17 pounds.
17. You don't have
How
17
much are you
pounds
losing?
to lose. Well, I'm losing 20 because I have 20 to lose. You have not.
I got 20 to lose, bro.
So I'm going to lose 20, like 1.5 pounds, pretty healthy over the next, I don't know, 16 or so weeks, call it like, you know, 4-ish months. Wait, 3 months? And that's a pretty safe bet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have to swap it? Oh, nice.
Oh, almost ran out of battery.
No, never.
Okay, yeah. So
100% never. They're all plugged in. High speed USB-C. Sorry.
So yeah, I'm gonna do a 20-week. I'm gonna do a 16-week program to lose 20 pounds on Nourished. And I keep a 1.5 pounds a week, pretty healthy. try and retain as much muscle as possible, because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and like I do have a passion for wellness and longevity, and they're saying that, in addition to your 10,000 steps a day, muscle mass is really important for your health span. So for me, I want to be a good advocate, and you should do the same for your little kid. Be there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Yeah,
longer
that
and
is.
healthier,
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah. I'm excited to be a dad and to be there as much as possible. So hopefully, when he's like 4, I can just retire and just be a full-time dad. So no, that's good. Yeah, I'll probably check out Nourish too, because I just. Living downtown is tough. Food is everywhere.
Oh yeah.
You can eat anything at any time, and they'll bring it to your door.
Oh yeah.
I've ordered donaris from the guy across the street. I can see him. I'll be like holding up my phone, like, "Hey, look, I'm ordering from you." He'll be like, "Thanks," and somebody walks across the street.
It's crazy. You're like was it from that movie WALL-E, where like all the people are just rolling around?
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah, it's too easy, man. It's too
It
easy.
is. Like that's the thing. Like accessibility is the number one thing, and if you make it easy and convenient, like there's no reason why.
Yeah, you got to hold yourself accountable for like doing stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we've been cooking a lot, but it is easy downtown. I think every Friday we go do something crazy, just see how much food we can eat at like a Korean barbecue or something. That's just sodium and it's not good for you. So
just stick to the protein. It's not terrible.
Yeah. As long as you're moving.
That's
moving
right.
for like a year. So now I'm running. I'm doing cardio.
Hey, who is this guy?
Yeah, I did.
I've known you
yesterday
for
was
like
rough. So
20
yesterday
years.
I did 2 kilometers. I did 2 kilometers yesterday. I was going at about 11 and a half kilometers. Apparently that's a little too fast for a jog. It's like basically not much of a burn versus like 9 kilometers. It's like you're not getting like per hour.
Oh, I see.
Per hour.
So so you did 11 kilometers per hour for how many kilometers?
2 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening.
I got you.
Yeah. So apparently you should slow down.
So you're running for like 12 minutes.
Less than that.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like, I think it was like
10.
It was like 4:59 or something.
Okay.
1 kilometer. Yeah.
Oh, so you do 2 kilometers in the morning, 2 at night.
No, 1 in the
I
morning,
see.
1 at night. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Do you have like a little loop?
I ran straight down to
Donair shop?
17th. Yeah, to Donair. Right across the street. He was really proud of me. He was like, "Damn, you did it
So you
yourself
didn't get it
today."
delivered today.
No,
job.
no. I literally live like downtown, and I basically live like in the middle. I just ran all the way to 17th and back up. That was basically it.
Whatever works, man.
Yeah, I was like, it was just. I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna go for a run. I haven't done this in a long time.
Just a switch just flicked or what?
And then I went and I bought an Apple Watch.
Damn. You're not a market, hey?
Yeah.
Oh, started running? Need an Apple
Well,
Watch.
I'm a big analytics guy, right?
For
Everything that we do is analytics, and I'm already addicted to gamifying my fitness. So if Nourish can take that to the next level,
we're
I'll be
working
using
on-
that as well.
Yeah, like so we have badge system that's being implemented relatively
Nice.
soon. So like, for example, like the insurance companies want to gather the data, and so do we. And so if
Yeah.
you do like a 5-day streak, you have a badge. If you meet with a dietitian, you get a badge. Like it's like the
Mhm.
Duolingo
Yep,
gamification model,
exactly.
where it can like actually be enjoyable, but
Mhm.
also like educational.
Well, you live in a world of instant gratification. Like it's the way to make people accountable is to make them get a dopamine hit. Apparently.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear. Yeah, I'll check it out. I need to check that out. We used to do meal prep from a guy downtown, Chef Earth. He's great. We got it every day for like us and our employees for a while, and we were gonna switch to you guys to try you guys out,
Mhm.
but the sun came out and the patios all opened, so we started going to the patio a lot. Me and my business partner. So that
good.
ruined that whole healthy eating thing. Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah. We'll
But
get
actually,
back on it.
one cool thing that we've implemented on Nourish is actually an organization feature.
Mm.
And so like not necessarily for like the corporate world, but like when we partner with different health systems,
Yeah.
like for example, we have like a bariatric hospital that's interested in joining. So like before losing a ton of weight through surgery, they want to make sure that the person's motivated to lose 10 to 20 pounds organically. And so when we do these kind of programs, not only can we make the recommendation for the individual, but if we partner with that specific health system and that member is approved to be part of that organization, there's different perks that they would get. So like for example, let's just say you wanted to like as Innovate Media, saying it correctly, perfect. So just checking IMG image.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to put Innovate Media as a organization, you could subsidize the cost for your
Yeah.
employees, and like we can do that for patients as well. So let's say the bariatrics clinic says, you know what, like we'll cover half the cost of your meals, you cover the other half.
Mhm.
And then so when we make that organization in Nourished, they get their meals automatically discounted. Oh, but they're also allowed to have 12 dietitian consultations per year. No problem, that's built in as well. So now
You
we
just
have all
log
these
in
custom
and
programs.
The system knows you have X amount of meals per
Correct.
week or whatever.
Yeah, meals, consultations.
So how far out are people usually like planning their meals? Just like about a week?
Next
or?
week, yeah.
Yeah.
Always ordering for like the week coming up. But the nice thing is about our system is that once they do all that, the heavy lift of, when I say heavy lift, it's 3 minutes.
Mhm.
The heavy lift of putting their profiles together, it's a subscription thereafter.
Mhm.
And so they can, 5 days before their next delivery, they get a notification saying, hey, based on your profiles, here's what we recommend.
Mhm.
And then this is a cool too. If they update their health profile and they've lost 2 pounds, well, now their whole macro breakdown changes.
Yeah.
And so then that's updated as well. So the next week, maybe they have a lower caloric intake, right?
So
And so the next week we say, here's what we recommend. Your card will be charged in 2 business days if you don't make any changes. If you want to make changes, log into your account, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just rinse and repeat ongoing. And that's why we have such good retention, because it's personalized to them every week, and it makes it as easy as possible.
That's cool. So basically then as well, like right now you're going to lose 20 pounds, you said,
Yeah.
so 16 weeks. And then once you get to that, it'll switch you kind of to a maintain, and the meals might get a little bit bigger.
Maybe not bigger,
Reward
but
you?
it would be more similar. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it would just change from like a caloric deficit to now
Yeah.
having a maintenance calorie range.
Yeah.
And then as I want to retain like the muscle, it would be higher protein
Higher
content
protein.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. So it's like one of those HelloFresh, but it's way more advanced basically.
Yeah, like HelloFresh could be a customer of ours, because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in the
exactly.
grand scheme of things, like yes, right now we are the marketplace,
Mhm.
but we're actually looking to bolt our AI technology onto existing meal producers.
Yeah.
So like we're having conversations with grocery stores, we're having conversations with meal kits,
Oh,
things
that's
like
awesome.
that. So in the future, there's going to be more opportunity for the user or the patient to have more variety and options.
Mhm.
And we've already been asked to put grocery on our platform, but I'd rather just be built into an existing, platform that has a few 100,000 or a million users already,
Mhm.
right? And what's really cool with the grocery partnership is that the grocery store's largest cash cow in most scenarios is the pharmacy.
Mhm.
And so when they're selling a product like a GLP-1, which is a weight loss drug,
Yeah.
they're actually hindering the sales of their future sales of food,
Yeah.
right? Because
That's
the people who
interesting.
are taking GLPs are going to have less of an appetite and purchase less food.
Yeah.
So now what these companies are trying to do is implement programs to now optimize people that are buying the prescriptions, which is now kind of considered a loss leader, but they want to, tailor the meal planning and the products they're purchasing for a person with that plan, because they want the person to come back to that store and buy the healthier foods, which have a higher margin moving forward, right?
Mhm.
So there's a ton of different business cases, but it's just a large and old industry, so it moves a lot slower than we do as a startup.
So how would it work with the grocery stores? What part is that? So basically, there'd be like people who have Medicaid or something. You go to the grocery store, they get like credits off, or what's happening there?
Yeah, a bit of both. So let's say they're approved for like the GLP, right?
Mhm.
As part of their weight loss, if it's GLP for diabetes, if it's GLP for weight loss, there can be both be treated a bit differently.
Mhm.
But in the US, they have this thing called the Affordable Care Act,
Mhm.
and under that program, people are allowed resources to nutrition guidance, which is like registered dietitians, right?
Mhm.
So now, from like a grocery standpoint, if you want to have a specific program for a person living with diabetes and on a GLP, and they're on Medicaid, for example, they may have some of that grocery reimbursed to them.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
now you're having a food as medicine initiative with, which is supporting that, that drug prescription.
Yeah. How did you find yourself so wrapped up in this food as medicine game?
I think that we've always been trying to do it for the last 5 years. Like that's how we started NutriMeals. It was always nutrition focused, always healthy. But when we started looking at the opportunities, the US was already trying to implement things like this,
Mhm.
and now they're definitely spearheading it a lot more. Their healthcare system is a lot different than our healthcare system,
Mhm.
and so they can prioritize a lot more of the prevention because of how expensive the healthcare systems actually are down there. Like, if you had to guess, how much do you think it costs as an employer to provide benefits to only one employee? Like just health
In
benefits
Canada or
in the US, and I'll give you Canada after.
$60
For what?
per month for health benefits? Or
No, 25,000 a year.
$25,000 a year
per employee,
per employee.
right? So think about your FTE cost,
yeah,
and your fully like integrated cost with health benefits is another $25,000.
yeah,
In Canada, it's about $9,000.
yeah.
So it's a little bit different on the benefit side. And so all these insurance companies and employers want to find ways where it's like, well, how can we lower the cost of the insurance plans?
Holy, yeah,
Because
yeah,
a lot of the stuff that's happening is that instead of people getting bonuses or raises at work, they're saying, sorry, man, your insurance has gone up another 25%. I can't give you a raise. We just ate the cost of your insurance instead.
yeah,
Right. And then it gets like a lose-lose situation because then
Yeah.
the person doesn't feel like they're getting paid enough. The employer's paying more for the same thing. And it's kind of a
your
messy,
life
right?
comes plateaued. It feels like, right?
Yeah.
You're stuck in the same spot. You're not getting more. You're not getting less.
Yeah, and I think now with the previous administration in the US, things were starting to happen. But now it seems that with the current administration, there's been more focus on, making America healthy again.
Yeah.
We started with the food dyes, we had the ultra processed stuff, but then eventually it's going to be more into like the wholesomeness of the entire meal. And so we're seeing a lot of grocery stores start, catching on to that. And that's where we're trying to be at the forefront of this. And like from being a Canadian company, it's really difficult from the outside looking in, but I'm spending a lot more time in the US now and having a lot of conversations on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so I'm really getting an insight of what it looks like.
Yeah.
And, it's just one of those things where you have to start at the source. Like we're treating everyone, it's more of a sick care system, not really a healthcare system.
Yeah.
And so I think things are just slowly shifting and it's going to take a long time, but it seems
Yeah.
like we're now for the first time ever, like, with the vending machines, it was terrible timing. With what we've done with Nurish'd, like the digital health platform, I feel we're at like a really good place, like timing
Just
wise.
on the burning edge now. You just gotta,
Like, we're crossing that
eat a
chasm.
fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. That's good to hear.
Mhm.
We're talking a lot about the States, business in the States. You're doing a lot of that, right? That
Yeah, that's
seems
the
to
goal,
be
unfortunately.
a big trend
Unfortunately.
in Canada.
Yeah, and actually I was at the event in Calgary last week. It's called Inventures, right?
Mhm.
And I had a lot of conversations with other startup founders and, some more scale ups. So a bit more revenue, but they're looking to expand. And I thought it was, it's quite sad. And like, we're a Canadian company and yes, we are focused in the US quite a bit. And we have to just based on, population size and opportunity. But it was the common theme across the board. And I actually felt quite bad for Canada
Mhm.
because all these great businesses who start here, they're leaving.
Yeah.
Right. And, Canada itself is really hard to trade across, provincial borders. There's a lot of red tape. We don't move very fast here. And so things just, as a startup, if you want to survive, you have to go where the business is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for a lot of people.
And it's not just startups though.
No, it's not.
You got to look, it's entrepreneurs,
Oh, yeah.
it's doctors, it's surgeons,
Mhm.
it's students. I was
Yeah.
just reading, there's a bunch of posts on Reddit about students in Toronto working in the States now, like for their summers. That like
Get paid in
it's
USD.
insane.
Yeah. I mean, if there's
and
a visa
there's
for that,
more
right?
jobs. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's sad to see. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. Like we should probably start this down in
like
the States.
I was having a conversation with another agency here in Calgary, and he's like, in Canada we work 10 times as hard for like, a tenth of the result, and like that really resonated with me. And
well, it's 10x the population, right?
in the US.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. But like here things just move so slow. Like we're very, very conservative. But like even if you look at like the food as medicine and what we're working on with Nurish'd, is that, people are willing to make, take a chance and experience if it works or not. Yeah, there's going to be a time horizon where we have to prove the ROI, which is exactly why we're tracking this stuff. But like in Canada, they're not even trying these things yet.
Yeah.
And just to get to that stage of like a pilot program, it takes way too long. Like we had an RFP out. I won't disclose any names, but it was a company here in Canada, and they wanted a digital, platform to give to their members, and they had an RFP out, or whatever you want to call it, request for information, request for proposal.
Yeah.
We applied. It was a 10-month program. We were waiting to hear the result, and in the end, they said, "Hey, this has actually been tabled. We didn't pick any business." Like I'd rather lose out to someone who got the contract than say we actually just shelved it because no one had accountability, right?
We're just not going to innovate.
Yeah, we're not going to innovate, and no one has the accountability. So these companies where you have all these VPs and directors and stuff, yes, those are needed from like a management level, but at the same time, everyone's so scared to make a decision. And if they do make the wrong decision or a decision that affects, a startup a lot, because it costs us money to do all those things, like it's an investment from us.
Yeah, it's huge.
There's no, what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's no consequences for those guys,
Yeah.
right? And so in the end,
Yeah.
things just don't get done, and that's why it gets that's upsetting.
Yeah.
Right, and that kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and you're like, well, I did an RFP down in Texas. They closed it in 6 weeks, and they already made a decision 8 weeks later. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't I want to go where my efforts are being appreciated?
Yeah. No, I think that's how a lot of people feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and
unfortunate.
it's like even just normal citizens, blue collar, white collar, I hear just from everyone that I talk to, like I would rather work somewhere where I feel a little bit more appreciated, right? The taxes are high, the jobs are low, there's no movement, right?
Yeah, and it goes both ways. Like we
Yeah.
hear everyone complains wherever you go, right? So
Yeah,
like in
the
the
grass
States,
is greener.
of course. So in the States, for example, they say, "Oh, our healthcare is so expensive."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm like, well, ours is too. You just don't see the cost that
Yeah.
comes out of your taxes,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
And so I think there's a lot more that you have to analyze in any sort of situation like this. But it's like you said, it's always the grass is greener, but
What's
it's
the
going to be
average like tax on Canada right now? Isn't it like
income or
61% or something?
income
Aggregate
tax?
tax.
Like if you think about GST,
Once you add everything, you got your GST, you got your income tax, you got it literally everything, all the different taxes.
Well,
I
you
think
have
the
like, for
average
example,
person
like
is
cars
over
are
60%.
cars are over 100 grand now. So you
Yeah.
have luxury tax, you have all that shit, right?
Holy shit.
So,
Yeah.
like I just saw, like, I'm not even in the market, but I saw
Yeah.
like a Forerunner
Mm-hmm.
for $100,000. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
well, that's like not even a luxury product anymore.
Yeah.
And like you're saying that now you have to. I know at $100,000 it's gonna be zero, but
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
at some point it's like, well, what else can you tax?
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
we're lucky
yeah,
in Alberta.
I was
right?
reading like just taxes. In Canada pay more taxes than you do for food, shelter, and water combined. So that's crazy.
Mhm.
And people don't notice that. Like sometimes when I hire people, I give people their check and they're like, "Oh, like what is all this deductions?" And, you hire students, right? We bring on a lot of kids, and it's like, "Oh, that's the government."
Welcome to growing up.
Yeah, and just wait because they're not done. They're actually going to tax you more at the end of the year too. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, I want to see Calgary grow, and I think like even like the ecosystem. I know like the corporation stuff better. I'm more on the startup side, but the ecosystems here are growing.
Yeah.
There's things that are happening.
Yeah.
I think even if you look where we were a decade ago, it's still a much more congruent ecosystem. There's a lot of people in the space. It's getting more attention.
Yeah.
But again, all those conferences, all those people I'm talking to are still looking to get out of here, which
Yeah.
is not what you want. If you're investing in the economy to provide resources and incubators for these startups, you want them to stay here because the whole point is you
Mhm.
incubate them here, they grow their company here, and they pay your taxes here.
Yeah,
They're government-sponsored
exactly.
programs.
Yeah.
So if the people are doing, using you for your amenities and then leaving, doesn't actually really help you that much.
Yeah, that's the economy, right? Like just you don't want to tax the single person, you want to tax the big business. So and
sure.
that's a big problem that's happened in Calgary. Let's talk like when all the oil and gas companies left downtown at 60% vacancy, right? All of those property taxes got moved onto small businesses, first in the core and then out and then across Calgary. So then you saw dozens of restaurants closing over property tax,
Mhm.
right? Like, I think you probably know what the margins are on food these days, right? And then if you add that in a restaurant, they probably have a lot more staff going on than just the packing, right? They have the packing and the
Front of
cooking, and
house,
then they have
yeah,
the front of house, right? So it's really interesting to see how when all those big businesses moved out and they were like, well, we'll just tax everybody else, right?
It doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It doesn't help the situation.
It screwed everyone. So yeah. So
Yeah, I mean,
we'll
like-
see where that
Like
goes.
I moved to Calgary, like I'm an immigrant too. Like I moved to Calgary with my family
Yeah.
in 2001, right?
Yeah.
But the city is not the same place that we moved into. Like, yeah, growth is good, but I think some of the stuff that we're seeing, like as you mentioned, of your encounters in the downtown area,
Yeah,
not doing so great, right? So I hope that
flips.
we can turn it around, and I
Yeah.
think that Canada is an attractive place to be. Like it's a beautiful country. The people, generally speaking, are like very nice.
Yeah,
But we just have to take maybe a little bit more risk and
100%.
invest in our local economy just a bit more and try and keep and retain as many people as you want. Like I look at Canada's economy as you would with a business. Like you have your customer acquisition cost. Like you want to have the retention.
Yeah.
You want to have less churn.
Yeah.
Like it's no
the
different.
churn's through the roof right now.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Like
but
we
it's
need to
kind of both ways
stop
though.
that.
We're getting a lot of people coming through like from Toronto and
Yeah,
other
well,
places.
you know
but
what? And here, this might be a little controversial, but I went
We'll
to
cut
the
it out,
mall
don't
the
worry.
other day, and all the people working. When I was graduated high school, I went and I worked and I sold cell phones, and
Mhm.
everyone selling cell phones was right out of high school. I'm going to the Apple store or the Telus store, and they're all 40 or higher now. Right? Like, so, and then we have students, Dylan, who you just met, one of our full stack developers, he applied to 400 internships. The kid's a freaking genius, and he didn't get an internship.
Mhm.
He couldn't even find free work. I have those 2 students that are here right now on a co-op.
Mhm.
MRU phoned me and they said, we will pay the wage. Usually you have to pay $20 an hour minimum.
Yeah,
And
so
then
you
you
have to
can
pay a
get it
percentage.
back
Yeah,
through
through-
grants.
yeah.
But they said, we need to get these kids jobs.
Yeah.
We need to. So MRU is applying for the grants ahead of time
crazy.
to get them here. And that's the only reason that we have the 2 students right now is because it's like, shit, they need somewhere to go.
Yeah, like-
So we have projects that they can run, right?
Our last job posting for developer, we had over 1,000 applicants.
Yeah, so and this is bad too. So I made a full stack developer listing, and I think in 6 hours I had 200. I turned it off.
Yeah, you can't
So,
even go through
but
that many.
So many people that didn't have any skill in that area,
Oh yeah.
right? So it's like they're like, oh yeah, so I've worked at Aritzia for 6 years, and now I think I want to be a full stack developer. I'm like, okay. Well, no. So now I'm not reading them. Now I'm going to make a GPT to read all my freaking things and tell me which ones to do, right? Because
You're bombarded. Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I feel that.
So we have good luck going through schools like Mount Royal and U of C and bringing students on. We probably bring on like 12 students a year and kind of teach them, giving them a project that like something that like isn't too crazy, but we wouldn't probably get to if it was just us as a team because we're too busy. And then basically all we do is spearhead the project management and show them how they would develop all this, from research to the code to the design to the implementation. So like that's a really good way to bring people on right now. I think that's the best way that I can find, right? That or headhunting. Because like
Depends how much money you have.
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Because it's right now, if a few of the things that we're looking at close, I'll headhunt. I won't even hire. I'll go find the best guy because it's too much to find in this market the people and then train them. And I find even the people coming out of school, I have people coming out of 4 years of school who can't use Excel sometimes. So it's like, yeah.
I'm actually curious, like go back to our AI conversation, I have a friend of mine, he went to school a lot later, so he's just finishing his last year now, but like they can use ChatGPT for like every assignment.
Yeah.
They're like, what's the point of knowing how to write these days? Basically,
Yeah.
like, it's, as bad as that sounds, it's like, well, we're copying and pasting the question into ChatGPT. It's throwing out an answer. I'm going to change it a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
So-
then what value does that now university degree have? And I understand they lock it down as best they can. They do their testing. They do whatever. And that's
Yeah.
totally fine. But I think like that just changes like the actual validity of a university degree.
I think that they have to be totally reworked. First of all, like if you're going to school to be a doctor right now, you should change that, right? Like AI is the best doctor. The problem with it, so right now you have general practitioners, for instance, right? You see your family doctor, and your family doctor knows a little bit of everything. He knows if something isn't working, he knows who to send you to. You know what I mean? But he's not a pro at basically anything, right? So they send you to the right guy. AI doesn't do that. AI knows everything right there, and they share one mind, right?
But it can't diagnose. That's the problem.
Sorry?
It can't diagnose.
No, yeah,
legally.
it can't diagnose legally right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
right? So, but that'll change. Doctors will be one of the ones that definitely go, right?
I don't know if it was Go, but they will use the tools. Like if you look at like imaging,
Yeah,
like an AI can detect, things within like an MRI.
Oh
or
yeah,
like a
I was
CTG
watching
or-
X-rays. It instantly finds like way faster than this guy. I saw a post on Reddit, and he's like, "I've been doing X-rays for 20 years, and this is a skill that I found, and I didn't spot this one.
Yeah.
and the AI did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's insane.
But the thing is, like, it still needs the human oversight to have someone who's accountable, because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
AI can't
yeah.
be accountable. So like
Yeah.
if the
1 for
if the,
10.
if the clinician is using the tool and they say, yeah, I agree with the tool, that's now the onus is on that physician.
Yeah,
Totally
100%.
perfect. But I don't think you could at least in the near future, say, you know what, we're only focusing on an AI.
No, that's
doctor.
that
Like,
10
it's not
years,
gonna work,
maybe
yeah.
20 years that you were talking
Yeah,
about.
who
But yeah,
knows?
right now, I think that there's going to be a lot less doctor jobs in the next 3 years.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the jobs are, I think everything's impacted.
Everything's impacted.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about even the writing, right? So, but there are things. So, you know, Diary of CEO. You watch that podcast ever? You know Simon Sinek.
Yes.
So I've never seen Diary of CEO either until just recently. But Simon Sinek was on it, so I watched it.
Gotcha.
He's really great. So they talked about why bother learning the skills, right? And Simon basically said, well, basically the reason is because you did it. And now it's human, right? And when we have people and we bring them on and they send me emails and you can tell that they're written by ChatGPT, I discredit the emails. When I get like emails that are like written and I'm like, oh, this is AI, I discredit it. I'm like, that's not how you talk. Like now I don't have as much like faith in it. And that'll probably change too. But you need to understand like integrally how something works before you start replacing it with AI. So like that's something that we've been trying to say to everyone when we hire or when we're training is, okay, you have to be able to do this and then we're going to bring AI into it. You have to know how to write the proper structure or else you're going to just ask ChatGPT and it's not right all the time, especially because it makes up, you were talking about how you have your AI concierge basically or whatever for
not yet, but
Nourish that you're working on. We were doing one for What's Good for the website. We trained it on, we have over like 300 Calgary businesses on there and you could ask it like, where's the best drink special or what wings are on today. It was working great unless you asked it a question and it wasn't happening today, right? Then it would make it up. Right. So
the hallucinations is
called, exactly. Right. It answers the question. It doesn't tell you that your question is unanswerable.
Right. And it's also going to tell you what you want to hear most of the time too. Because the way it learns, like when let's say I communicate it, and I actually did this exercise, you should try it. It's really interesting. So I went on ChatGPT and I've never disclosed anything personal. I only use ChatGPT 4.0 business. So then hopefully they're honest. They don't train the model with my stuff.
Yeah.
But I said, based on what I've told you, what do I look like?
Oh, really? What
and
do
so
you look like?
I'll show you after, but I'll even give it to these guys. But it's actually not far off, and it's quite funny to see.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah, go for it. Say like just based on all of our previous conversations, create a picture of what you think I would look like. You can go more detail. I can give you the exact prompt I used later, but it's quite insane. But then the thing is, it's starting to understand how you converse, and it's going to make it more and more, similar to the response that you're already kind of anticipating. And so it does kind of modify itself to you.
Yeah.
But
it's going to make you what you want.
Exactly. I want to see what this looks like.
I can't generate an accurate photo of you without gas. I'll probably need that prompt.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to go off what I know about you.
Let's see. So mine, like it even puts a blazer on the guy, and it's like the blazer I wear to like all the networking events. Like it's insane.
It probably found you on Google, right?
I don't have that photo with that on Google.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But like the haircut, like not now. I'm gonna go on like a weird blowout thing. Super Saiyan. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like the haircut was the same. They were like, yeah, we think you're like a medium build, like 6 feet tall. Has like I don't drink coffee, but has like a coffee in your hand and like a laptop because you're always on the go. And basically, like, kind of like pumps your tires. It gives you a big description about how good you are. And blah, blah,
I was
blah.
reading about how it's dangerous that it's very much a yes man.
Oh yeah.
So what I've done is I've told mine never answer any of my questions without telling me why it's wrong and telling me what I haven't considered. And I have to say that probably once a week because it stops doing it.
I see.
We'll put it up on the screen as well.
Yeah.
It's, like I mean, used to wear jean jackets once upon a time.
The thing is like, okay, the background's almost perfect.
It almost looks like this room,
right?
With
like,
that direction.
I mean, physical features, it won't know you perfectly, but like, I mean, he's wearing an Apple Watch. Or a smart watch of some kind, right?
Yeah.
It's a taller white dude. Like like what can you say, right?
Yeah. He does have like the same hair almost.
Yeah, a bit more of it, but
a bit more of it. What's that mean? I'm not losing any hair, Sam.
Just like he's not as short.
No, I think that's a good chat. We covered a lot. We covered a lot of metaphysical, societal, political.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to take that toll, so we'll see what we can put on the internet and what we can't.
I think most of it's fine. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about before you go? Anything you want to talk about Nurish'd at all? You want to tell people where to find it? Anything you have upcoming?
Yeah, I mean, you can just, connect with me on LinkedIn. That's like the most active that I am. We have like a marketing manager, Dalen, kind of similar to Dylan, but Dalen, who does our stuff, and he kind of posts on there. So if you can search Nourish.io as like our, technology information website. Nourish.store is our website for our consumer platform. And then since we're HIPAA compliant and PIPEDA compliant, we have app.nourish.store, and this will all be on the screen, right, Jordan?
Yeah. All over the place.
Or
right,
in the
Donovan?
description. And that's where you can actually try the platform for yourself, and always open to feedback. It's not going to be perfect. We're always trying to improve it. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, Sam. It's good seeing you.
You too.
Awesome. Cool, man.